When you think of magic items in Pathfinder 2nd Edition, you probably think of +2 flaming great swords and +1 whatever the property rune is for armor. But there are a lot more magic items out there than just magic weapons and armor. Obviously, you knew that already. But what if I told you that Pathfinder 2nd Edition has an entire magic item system that nobody ever uses, and I think all of you are missing out by not taking advantage of this phenomenal system that is included in GM Core in the Pathfinder 2e Remaster. Howdy, my name is Nonat, and I'm here to talk to you today about the amazing system that is Relics. A lot of you, I think, have probably never heard of this before, and a lot of you probably have, but I guarantee less than 10% of the people watching this video have ever actually used Relics in their campaign. Hell, I've only gotten to use them once, and it was in a campaign that sadly only lasted 2 sessions. So what are Relics? What makes them so special, and why am I making an entire video talking about a system that's actually existed in the game for like the past 3 years? Well, the first is they're super cool, and I'll get into it. The second is that with the remaster and it being included in GM Core, I feel like now is an amazing time to bring attention to this incredible system, and with War of Immortals on the horizon and Mythic rules promising some crazy, powerful, awesome characters for your campaigns, why not give them another little extra edge of power and flavor and story by giving them Relics. But first, before we talk about Relics for your characters, we should talk about something that every single Pathfinder 2e player has been wanting for the last 4 years, and of course I'm talking about the Dragon's Demand, the new Pathfinder 2nd Edition CRPG from Ossian Studios on Kickstarter. Y'all, Ossian is doing what we've all wanted, and that is making a comprehensive CRPG using the Pathfinder 2nd Edition rule set, top to bottom, full integration in video game form. Let me turn on my GM voice real quick. Explore the town of Belheim and defend it from the uprising of an ancient dragon tyrant, a Teparax. Form a party of up to 4 characters consisting of your customizable main character and 3 of the 12 companions. And some of these companions are even familiar faces, like the iconic alchemist Fumbus right from your rulebook as a playable companion. The game is showing so much promise, and the visual style is such a fascinating choice. Rather than fully rendered animated 3D models, they're going with moving tabletop miniatures to almost immerse you into a living tabletop RPG experience. Utilize tactics and strategy to make the most of the PF2 system and overcome challenge after challenge, and do it your way with dice skins to make every roll unique, as well as armor and weapons changing the very appearance of your character. Grow in power up to level 8 and save Belheim from the evil dragon tyrant. This game is looking incredible, y'all, but it's not going to be possible without the community support. So click the link at the top of the description to go check out the Dragon's Demand Kickstarter today. If it doesn't hit its funding goal, the game can't be afforded to be made. So we all got to work together to support Ossian Studios doing what they love to make us something that we're going to love. And for just $30 US, you can get the standard digital edition, which not only comes with a digital version of the game when it launches, but also beta access when that gets started, as well as a few other goodies like a 4K wallpaper pack. You'll even be given the in-game item of the Everlight Crystal, which is basically just a torch that never goes out. Oh, and did I mention that I got to interview the project director Alan Miranda from Ossian Studios? Yeah, you can actually watch that interview right here, right now if you want more information about the game, and chat themselves actually got to ask questions to Alan directly. Lots of great information and conversation with Ossian Studios in that video. So click the link in the description or the pinned comment below to check out the Dragon's Demand Kickstarter by Ossian Studios. Let's make this game a reality, y'all. Thank you so much, Ossian Studios, for supporting the channel. Now let's get to Relics. So what exactly is a relic? Well, to make it short, a relic is a magic item that levels up with the player who owns it, known as the relic's owner. A relic's item level is always the exact same level as its owner. In fact, relics can't really be traded between people without losing all of their power and then being needed to regrow in power alongside their new owner. There's a ton of lore into how relics work from a story-based perspective, but for the sake of this video, I'm going to stick primarily to the mechanical perspective so you know how to implement them in your game. Basically, relics start with two aspects attached to them, and there's multiple aspects in the GM core rulebook. Things like air, fire, death, shadow. These aspects determine the types of gifts that the relic will acquire and thus grant to the owner. Any gift acquired by a relic from one of its two aspects will impart some kind of passive benefit or active activation that the user can take advantage of. For example, the minor air gift Deadly Spark allows the owner to use two actions to just zap a nearby target for 1d12 damage on a basic reflex save, increasing by 1d12 damage at level 6 and every 4 levels beyond that. Sure, it's nothing spectacular, it's not a whole bunch of damage, but this can be done any number of times for two actions as often as they want. Even a fighter with this gift could just use a ranged 1d12 electricity attack at will. And just for reference, if it calls for something like a saving throw, it is going to use either your class DC or your spell DC, whichever one is higher. If any gift should call for an attack roll, you're just going to subtract 10 from that DC. If you're level 1 and you have a 15 class DC and you need to make a spell attack roll with your relic, it's just going to be at +5. But I'm also getting a little bit ahead of myself. Let's talk about how relics start, and that is a relic seed. A relic seed is just a simple little magic item that grants a tiny little benefit, typically a level 1 minor gift of one of the aspects. However, you don't always have to start a relic at this level. You can grant a relic at any character level and have it as part of an existing magic item. For example, if somebody finds a +1 striking flaming longsword, well, hey, maybe that is now a fire gift with some other aspect to it. Maybe they don't even know the second aspect until they spend time with the sword and learn about its history. A huge aspect of the relic is to encourage storytelling and narrative growth of both the relic and the player that has become its owner. As the player grows, both in power and character, the relic will grow to mirror them, or vice versa. As the relic gets more powerful, it will reflect some of its aspect onto the player. By default, a relic will gain 5 gifts throughout a player's lifespan at levels 1, 5, 9, 13, and 17. However, this is not a hard and fast rule. Granted, giving more than this will obviously increase the overall power level of the character it's attached to, but it'll also make them really, really cool. The level of gift granted by a relic is also outlined here, in that you should give them minor at level 1, minor at level 5, major at levels 9 and 13, and then only one grand gift at level 17, strictly due to the inherent power level of these gifts. At the end of this video, I'll go over an entire aspect and all of its gifts to give you a rough power level of the minor compared to the major compared to the grand, but I do want to go over a few more things before we get there.
Hey, so it's 10 a.m. of the day I'm editing this video, and I just realized I forgot to put a call to action in, so if you're watching this when it goes live, I'm streaming right now. Look, here's me streaming. Doesn't that look like fun? You could be there too. Link in the description. Nailed it.
The first thing I want to cover is the best way to use relics, and this is obviously a subjective opinion, but for me personally, I think relics are best obtained at level 1 and for every single person in the party. I don't think a single character or just some party members should get a relic, as it's like getting them to use an entirely separate rule system and not allowing the other players to use it. It could create a real imbalance of power dynamic because these relics do inherently make players more powerful, more versatile, and just more narratively important in a lot of different ways. So if you're going to give out a relic, either have one relic that affects the entire party and grants all of them the same gifts, or, the way I personally prefer it, give every member of the party their own relic that reflects them, their character, their backstory, and creates a direction for that character to grow. Another bit of advice is to not necessarily decide both aspects of a relic right at level 1. Maybe you work with a player, you talk to them about what they want their relic to be, and have them pick one aspect. And then, by their choices throughout the campaign, what their character does, how they use their relic, what they use their relic relic for, all of that will help decide what the second aspect is, maybe around level 5 when they get their second gift. At their core, relics are incredibly simple. It is a magic item, it gets 5 unique abilities at 5 distinct levels of character progression, but story-wise, they can be so much. Maybe the fighter was given a shield passed down by his father and his father's father and so on and so forth, and then this is the character that truly gets to awaken the inner power of this shield, as they find out it has the fire aspect. All of a sudden, the fighter can now shoot bolts of fire out of his shield for 2 actions, thanks to the Flare Bolt minor gift. Already, not only have you made the fighter super cool and unique as a character concept, but now you have room to explore that shield. Why does it have the fire aspect? What is the history of this shield involving the fighter's family? What is the second aspect that they have not even discovered about this shield yet? There is so much you can add to a relic from a narrative standpoint, and I think that is the main reason using them is such a cool concept. It gives your players something tangible in the world to latch onto and really sink their teeth into when it comes to a narrative story direction, especially if you go like the Final Fantasy route and have all of the party's relics all be connected to each other. So as they grow, so too do their party members, and all of the relics work in tandem with each other. There's really not that much more to say about relics. Like I said, they're fairly simple to include mechanically. It's up to you to make them narratively interesting, but they're a really, really good platform to jump off of. So to close out this video, let's go ahead and go through the gifts of one of the aspects of relics so you get a good idea of what exactly the power level looks like for them. Let's use the Earth aspect as our example, starting off with the minor gift, Ease Burden. Just having this relic on your person, as long as you are standing firmly on the ground, increases the amount of bulk you can carry without becoming encumbered by 1, and your maximum bulk by 2. At 6th level and every 4 levels after, these values all increase by 1. So at level 6, you can carry 2 extra bulk before becoming encumbered, and 4 extra bulk total, meaning the higher level you get and the higher and stronger your relic gets, you can carry a ton of weight. There's also the Rolling Geode minor gift, which for 2 actions, once per hour, allows you to create a large-sized spherical geode within 30 feet, and once per turn for 1 action, you can control it to roll it across the battlefield, dealing 2d6 bludgeoning damage on a basic reflex save to any enemy caught in its path. Additionally, this isn't like a spell. You don't have to sustain this. You can just ignore it for 1 turn if you don't want to use it. However, enemies can destroy it, with its statistics being on screen right now. The biggest problem with this gift, in my opinion, is that it does not scale. It's going to stay at 2d6 damage forever. The great part about relics, though, they're very easily homebrewable and customizable. Nobody would get mad at you if you said, oh, at levels 6, 10, 14, and 18, it goes up by 1d6. Feel free to have fun with these relic gifts. They are designed 100% as a baseline for you to customize. And just because you're using an aspect doesn't mean you have to use the gifts listed here. You can make up your own gifts following the power level established by the existing gifts. So if you don't like any of the Earth minor gifts, make your own. Work with your player to make a unique gift. The final minor gift for Earth is Shattered Earth, which for 2 actions once per hour, you die. You choose a 10-foot radius, which is 20 feet across, patch of Earth within 60 feet, turning all squares in that area into difficult terrain. And should any creature use a move action to move into or through any of those squares, they have to make an acrobatics check or take 1d6 piercing damage. They can also choose to make it a reflex save instead, and this damage does go up by 1d6 every 4 levels. It's not a whole lot, but it's a very cool feature to be able to just sort of crag the Earth anywhere within 60 feet of you. Very flavorful. Moving into the major gifts, we have Raise Ramparts, which for 3 actions, you just cast 5th rank Wall of Stone. That's what it does. Underground Bounty is really helpful if you're often fighting things with material weaknesses. During your daily preparations, your relic can actually produce a small shard of any non-precious metal or stone. This also includes silver, cold iron, and gold. By using this shard, you can actually touch it to any weapon, and that weapon will be treated as though it's made of that material until your next daily preparations. And upon hitting character level 17, you can also choose from adamantine. Very cool, very flavorful, not the strongest thing in the world, but again, narratively, incredible opportunities. And finally, the Grand Earth Gift. Not only can you now cast Petrify and Sure Footing as 6th rank spells once per day, but anytime your body is subject to physical damage, you momentarily petrify your own skin, reducing all damage taken from the physical source by 5 points. If you are in a cave or other subterranean environment, utilizing the stones around you, you actually increase that damage resistance to 8 points. However, adamantine weapons do get past this resistance. I hope this gives you a decent example of the power level of Relics. They're not honestly that crazy or game-breaking. Rather, they give you a lot of different options you can use. Plus, like I said, these are baselines. There's only one grand gift, I believe, for every single aspect, so feel free to have fun and write your own. Relics are an amazing baseline to give you and your players the freedom to expand them not only mechanically, but narratively. Just take a drink every time I say the word narrative, I swear. So try out Relics in your next campaign, or hell, add them to your current campaign if you want to give your players a little bit more chutzpah on their character sheets. Let me know how it goes, or if you've already used Relics in the past, go ahead and let me know. I would love to hear about your experiences. Huge shout out to Ossian Studios for sponsoring this video and the channel. Be sure to go check them out and help make the Dragon's Demand a reality. And a massive shout out to all the members of the Known at One's Patreon for helping me keep this channel going. It's because of y'all that we're able to keep doing this. Thank you so very much for watching. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. And until next time, Known at Ones.